the day of a broadcast. What goes into it before you even get there? Kind of what's the day look like?
Well, first off, Dylan, thanks for this. I really appreciate it. And, there's a lot, believe it or not, that goes into it. And it's more than just the day of a broadcast. It's the days or the weeks even before a broadcast. Depends when it is. Because there's a lot of prep that goes into it, whether it be lacrosse or any sport you want to name, really. There's a lot of notes you have to prep, boards, rosters of each team, just some stats going in about how the team is doing, how big the game could be for the program, who are some of the top players. Maybe there's a career milestone for the coach or a player or what have you. So there's a lot of preparation going into a game before you even have that day of the contest that you're going to broadcast. But once we hit day of, you have your notes ready, you bring your papers, some pens as well, to write some stuff down. If you're trying to keep score maybe in the game, you bring that as well with you. And also, for us at WRSU, when we come here, or, when we go before we get to the stadium, we come back here to the station itself to get the equipment, to print out our rosters and boards, to add some more notes if there's some time left over. And, we just have a nice drive over. We have our notes in a nice folder. We bring our pens with us. We bring all of our stuff. We get dressed up nice if it's a big game, especially if it's a Big Ten game, for lacrosse or whoever it is. And, we just... we get ready for things, in that order. So we come with the equipment, we set it up at the stadium, and once we're set up, with the equipment, we're all good to go. We wait for the first face-off, and it's game time.
So now the game's going on, you're calling the game, you're doing this and that. What goes into a good goal call where you're not too loud, you're not too quiet? Maybe you are creative with some words. Is there any thought that goes in that pregame?
Well, sometimes there is and sometimes there's not. Me personally, if I haven't called the game in a while, or if I'm calling a lacrosse game for the first time in a year, it's the first time I'm calling the team since last season, I'll just break through, some players, they're walking around, they'll fire a shot, I'll do some, practice play-by-play to a certain extent as they get on there. And really, a lot of the preparation for the vocab you use when you're on the air, it comes well before the game day. Personally, me, Doc Emmerich is one of my favorite broadcasters. And, going into, radio and now being a radio announcer for several years here at Rutgers, a lot of his vocabulary I've taken to put into how I call a game or how I describe a play. But for a goal call, you don't want to be too loud so the mic doesn't pop out. You also don't want to be too quiet so people can't hear you, and it doesn't seem as exciting as the moment really is.
1 minute to go in overtime, 30 seconds left on the shot clock. That'll be Dixon. Now back inside. Dixon with the shot and the goal! Lily Dixon wins it for the Scarlet Knights. Or scores it for the Scarlet Knights. Still have to play at least 49 seconds. But Lily Dixon puts the Scarlet Knights in the position that they want to be in right now. Lily Dixon, the freshman out of Maryland. She's all over the place tonight. She has 4 goals. And it is a sudden death overtime. So Lily Dixon, the hero of the night for the Scarlet Knights.
All right, now putting you on the spot a little bit here.
Sure.
If you had to give me 3 keys to being a successful play-by-play broadcaster, what would they be, Alex Carminati? Your 3 keys, go.
Well, first off, that's a great question. And part one is be prepared. Be prepared for anything, whether it be, a sport you might not have called before. Do as much research as possible going into every contest you have. Every call you have is a big moment for you. And if you want to, make a run in the business or really stand out in this sense, you got to come very prepared. Come with as many notes as possible. Come with as many boards as possible. Come with all these stats that you might not even say or use in your, broadcast. Come with enough information. Come with more than enough information, I would say. The second thing is also, make sure you have your vocabulary down. That's a big one too. Because, if you're, describing a play that anybody can say, okay, John's over there in the corner, they'll pass over to Sue, and Mary catches the ball on the left wing. It's more like, okay, John will dance around, shift over to Mary. Mary will slide her way to Sue, and now pitchfork back to Tom. You want to be more, precise and more, not extreme, but more very eloquent with your vocabulary. Your vocabulary makes you stand out as a broadcaster. And if you're able to really paint the picture in a very unique way with that strong vocabulary, it makes the play stand out even farther, especially if it's a big moment on a big goal, a big save, whatever it is. And the third one is that, just stay confident. Stay confident in whatever you do. If you mess up on a call, just keep going. stay confident in whatever it is, and know that, it's not going to be a perfect shot your very first time you're on the air. It takes a while to eventually build a character, build a persona, build, a personality when you're on the air, when you're covering things, and, things are going on in general. So, I would just be confident. Be very, very confident in your ability to do this, and your ability to, follow through with a play, and your ability to really grab the attention of the audience. And if you got those three things, you're golden. No, well, for me personally, it's more than I just do a wrap-up and just walk out of the stadium. I personally love to talk to the players, and I've been very fortunate enough when I've covered games for lacrosse or for any sport, I've been able to grow some strong relationships with some players. A lot of good friends of mine that are here at Rutgers are athletes. Soccer team, lacrosse team, baseball team, whatever team you want to name. I'm not that close with football and basketball, obviously, but, when it comes to lacrosse and soccer and baseball and even wrestling, there are guys and gals who I've been able to grow closely with and call them friends, very, very good friends, some of them to a certain extent. And, once I'm done with the call, we do a quick wrap-up. We break through what happened, who were the main players, how many goals they had, how many saves this goalie, made, how many turnovers they forced, what went right for Rutgers, what went wrong for Rutgers. How come they lost the game? How come they, fell short to whoever they were playing? And what can they do better next time around? So it's just a overall recap of what happened in that game and what they can do to either continue their success or fix their issues, the next game or going forward or what have you. And for us at WRSU, we're all very grateful for the calls we have. So as we sign off, we give thanks to our broadcast administrator, our general manager, our sports director, so many folks in the sports department, our producers, of course, who were able to take time out of their busy schedules to get us on and off the air. It's things like that. So it's just really, really giving thanks to people who were able to get you on and make sure you had the call you had. And also, when we're done and we're finally off the air and we say goodbye to our producers and we're ready to pack up and go, we pack up, but before we leave, if depending on the sport, if it's lacrosse especially, we'll have the chance to talk to the players post-game. So one of the SIDs or media relations people will take us down to the field and we'll talk to the player of the game, the coach of the team who won, and we'll break down how they did, what went right for the team, and how they're able to how they were able to pick up a great win. So, it's really, it's more than just on the air calling things. It's also getting a reaction from people post-game when A, people aren't watching it or hearing it live, and B, it gives you practice for an interview technique, a interview style. Because play-by-play might be your thing. At the same time, you might need to do some conversations with people, have some interviews with athletes, coaches, whoever else. So it's a good, it's another good direction to, get yourself comfortable with, where if you need to talk with someone following the game, you have a soundbite, you get it played. And also, if you're having it for a show like we do here for our sports talk show, The Crew, after every game of lacrosse or whatever sport, we have post-game audio that we have when we talk to several players, the winning player, the top player, whatever it is. So when we have that audio, we have it for ourselves, but we have it for our show the next day to play on the air to recap even further, what happened the previous night. So there's a lot that really goes into it, and it's not just you go in there, you show up, you do your thing, you have your call, and you walk out and you say, okay, we did it today, we'll do it again next time. It's a whole process before, during, and especially after.